I'm battling some serious allergies today, so my energy level is not up to normal par, but here we are. So, so I went through and kind of did some spot checking to make sure that everyone has some purchase order that they can actually receive against. So some of you actually probably need to create some more purchase orders. So we'll look at that. At first, I want to kind of do a little bit of clarification on some questions that were asked yesterday in regards to the receipt entry area. And I believe Allison had asked about attaching documents and that kind of stuff to the receipt entry process. So in the receipt entry is where you can attach, like I said, if your 3PL lets you know that something has come in or whatever, you can actually attach that email to the receipt, or you can attach any kind of documentation that might have come in with that material to that receipt. Where you're really going to do a lot more of the attaching is going to be when you do the customer shipment entry, and based on the FOB terms and what your customer requires, that's where you would attach like a signed proof of delivery or a signed bill of lading, something like that. So that's what billing will be looking at in order to verify the shipment itself and to create the invoice for the customer. So what I want to start with is going into purchase order entry. So I will go ahead and share my screen. And let me see, I think, yeah, I already have it open. So what I want you guys to do is open up purchase order entry, and you're going to click on the purchase number or the PO number gray box. And then I want you to search by your buyer ID. And when you pull up whatever POs that you have in here, I want you to look at this box here, or this column here that says open. So if you have a check mark there, then that's a purchase order that you can look at. If you want to select, which I actually am going to ask you to do, is select either all of them, or you can click on one and then use your shift key to highlight multiple. And then we're going to click OK. So I want you guys to go ahead and do that. So select, if you, if you pull up your buyer ID and you have, let's say, 2 or 4 or whatever in there that are open, I want you to just select all and pull all of them in. And I want to point out something for you guys to look at. So does everybody have some POs pulled up that they will be able to look at? Okay. So again, just like in some other screens, you can use your arrow over, or you can use your arrow drop down to see which ones you have. But what I want you to do is to click on the Releases tab. And if you notice in this, on this purchase order specifically, I am linked to a sales order and I have my drop ship button checked. What that means is that I will not be doing, and all these things are grayed out here, because this is a drop ship. I'm not going to go through the receipt entry for anything that is marked as a drop ship. So what I want you guys to do is to go through the POs that you pulled up, click on the release tab and find one where you do not have where the link to a sales order and the drop ship noted. When you find a purchase order like that, so if I go to another one and another one, there. So here's one that I have a quantity that could be received and it's not linked to a sales order, so it's not a drop ship. Once you find one of those purchase orders, go ahead and make note of that number so that we can actually go through the receipt process. And if you don't find one, let me know, and I'm going to give you another suggestion.
Hey, this is Jessica.
Hi.
Both of mine are drop ship.
Okay, so you can go in to look at your new PO suggestions, and you have some things that you haven't bought. So I want you to look at those suggestions, and also, I just know because I looked at yours earlier, one of yours does not have a cost on it, so you'll want to put a price in on that PO suggestion. But you can go ahead. Anybody who doesn't have a purchase order that is open and is not marked as a drop ship, go and look at new PO suggestions and see what materials are in there that you can buy, and go ahead and go through that process of selecting the buy button and filling in the required fields to generate your purchase order.
Lori, quick question.
Sure.
On when you're on the summary tab, I noticed yours has that ready for mass print box check. Should ours be as well?
So what that means basically is if I wanted to go to my actions and there's an option to do mass print, it's going to print whatever purchase orders have that checkbox on them. It's not required. In fact, I would say that, for a while you're going to want to do one at a time just so you can kind of, look at it a little closer. But that's what that means, is basically whatever purchase orders that I have, I could do a mass print and print all of them at one time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I honestly don't know where that where that pulls from as far as any kind of default or something like that, but yeah. And, another thing to point out too is if I was to make, if I had sent this purchase order to a supplier and they came back and said, oh, sorry, your price is now, 51 cents. I could come in here and I could unapprove it and make that change. And then I could select this print order as changed. When you do that, it shows change order on the actual form. So your supplier knows that you've made a change to that purchase order that you had sent to them previously.
Okay, because I was wondering actually about that too, because mine is automatically selected as changed. So unless we need to, should we keep it as new, or would you just keep it as the changed version?
So it'll say print order as changed if you have unapproved it and done something to it. If you don't, if you know that you haven't sent the purchase order or whatever, just override it and do it as print as new.
Okay, thank you.
Another thing I want to show you guys is I'm going to pull up another PO here. So this purchase order, can you guys see the screen okay? I just realized it's kind of small, but if I look at these releases, notice that I have 2 lines. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. Pardon. I have 2 lines on this purchase order. And if you notice, if I look at my releases tab in detail, this first line is closed. So that means it's been received in. But if I go to the next line, it shows that it's open. So that's something else that you can look at to see if you have open lines on your purchase orders. Okay, so does everybody have, excuse me, a PO that they can receive against now? So let's go ahead and,
Question. The green open button, does that mean the release is open too, or that's something different?
yeah, so that's exactly right. So this purchase order actually only has 1 line and 1 release. So it does show me that it is open fully. So let's leave the purchase order open, and you can minimize it. And we're going to go into the shipping and receiving. I think my system's moving about as slow as I am today. So general operations, and then we're going to go into receipt entry. So again, I'll go ahead and go through the steps, and then I'll pause and let you guys go through the steps. But feel free to go ahead and open up your receipt entry if it's moving at a snail's pace like mine. Okay, so I'm going to enter in the PO number that I wrote down and tab. And it takes me over to the pack slip area. Again, this is something that you can create yourself, or you can take it from any of the documentation that you might have received from the warehouse to create that. So I'm going to hit tab, and I'm going to get a record not found. And do I add new? Yes. And then I'm going to go to File, New Receipt Line. And I'm going to tab over to my line, which is 1, and I only had 1 release on here. And I'm going to say that I actually received 1,100. I am going to change this receiving warehouse to just the general. Notice that because this warehouse is set up to have multiple bins, it grays out this bin. Every receipt needs to have the warehouse and a bin. So I'm going to click on the bin gray box to search. Goodness. And notice I have this display all bins checkbox checked. You'll want to do that as well. And then click search. And I'm just going to choose this general. Click OK. The next thing I need to do is assign a lot to this receipt line. So I'm just going to click on next lot. Yes, I'm sure. And I'm going to mark this as received and save it. And go to my summary, and it's received all is checked for me. So you guys can go ahead and do that as well.
Did you want us to receive in a different quantity on purpose, or that doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Lori, I was having internet issues. Sorry. My internet cut out right after you entered your PO number and hit tab and brought it up. Entered your packing slip number. What was the step right after that?
When you enter in the packing slip number and hit tab, you should get a box that says record not found, add new, and you click yes.
Okay, I did.
And then you're going to go to this file, new receipt line.
Perfect. And then let's see.
It should bring in your PO number, and then you're going to tab over to the line.
Oh, okay. I see my. Oh, wait. Let's see. My PO number's in there. Oh, okay. And you said tab over to line. Okay. Okay, and then there you check it. Oh, tab again, and it comes up. Okay, I got it now. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Sorry, I have a question. What's on the lines tab, what's the red unconfirmed mean? Yeah.
I'm honestly not sure.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I did something.
Yeah, no, I honestly do not know what that means. Let me see if it tells me.
I have an error message that says cannot determine unit of measure, class of UOM.
In the quantity area, what does it say there?
Where it says our quantity.
Next to that.
It won't let me put anything in there.
Is it blank?
Yeah. It won't take my our quantity either.
Which Pardon?
1092.
Okay, hold on. Do what?
Mine's doing the same thing as Lynn's. It's blank.
Okay, which PO are you looking at, 1107?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, hold on one second, let's see. Yeah, Jen, I'll have to find out. I don't know what that unconfirmed means.
No problem. I just want to make sure I didn't do something wrong there.
Nope, you're good. All right, let me see what. Hmm.
I have a question too, but
Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if you could go through it one more time. I think I put on here. But I just want to make sure that I check all my boxes.
Okay, sure, just one sec. Okay, so did you, Amanda, did you do new receipt line? Okay. Let me just see if it'll work for, let's see what error you're getting.
Mine did that first if I didn't actually hit the tab key. I don't know if that helps or not, guys.
Oh, I'm in the wrong side. I can't do that. I'm gonna clear that. So it says, Lynn, it says, cannot verify the unit of measure or the unit of measure class.
Yeah. Cannot determine UOM class of UOM.
Can you share your screen or no?
Sure.
Okay, so you need to, just for that brief second that I saw it, when you put in your PO number and you tabbed, you need to put in your line and your release. So you can click OK on that error. next to your PO where it says the line, you have 0 down a little bit. Right, down. No, down. See the PO where it says, yeah, put 1
Ugh.
and hit tab.
Ta-da.
There you go.
Thank
Amanda, does yours work?
Yeah, same thing. Does that
Okay.
mean there's something wrong somewhere?
Yeah, so basically you're just skipping a step. So Lynn, if you can stop sharing and I'll pull
Let's
mine
see
back
if you said that, Darren. Hold on.
Yeah, so when you do the receipt and you go to the new receipt line, it brings in your PO number for you, but however, it doesn't. Am I sharing?
No.
Oh. Sorry. Hold, please. I just realized I didn't see anybody, and I was like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. So when you do the new receipt line, it's going to pull in that PO number that it's pulling from the summary when you put your purchase order number in. However, it doesn't know which line on that PO that line and release that you're wanting to receive in, because you could have 5 lines on a purchase order. So when this PO number comes in, you have to tab over and tell the system what line. And again, I'm messing up all over the place. Because that's not my purchase order. So sorry. But you need to tell it what line and release that you're actually receiving in.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
I only had one item on this PO, but for instance, if I had more,
Mhm.
is there a list of the items so you know which item you're receiving?
Let me see. Hold on. So you can search. I promise you really can eventually. And I can. And it would show you which ones you had on there with the part numbers, and you could select from there.
Very cool. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So Lori, how you're changing yours now from receiving to general,
Mm-hmm.
mine doesn't have general. Should I leave it at receiving?
What do you have?
I have our third-party warehouse Apollo, SGW inspection, SGW receiving, SGW shipping, SGW St. Charles, SGW WIP. Whole bunch. That's general.
Okay, actually, select the 3PL,
Okay.
and I'll do the same thing.
Can we change this if I've already marked it as received?
Yeah, just unreceive it,
Okay.
uncheck it, and then change it. Did that work, Christy?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay. So I am going to check my received box and save it. And I am good. So, so now if I was to go look at my project tracker, which sorry. Oh my gosh. Which I can find in order management and general operations. And project tracker. Is everybody else's system moving this slow? Is it just my lucky day?
No, it's super slow.
Okay.
Mine's slow too.
Let's not talk about slow internet, Amy.
You don't understand how serious she is. I feel so bad for her. It's not even funny. I'm telling you, there are hamsters that are faster than her internet.
Well, I'm beginning to think that, yeah, the hamsters have got off the wheel and we're dealing with some snails now. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to go ahead and admit my mistake in what I just did as far as my receipts. I didn't tie my purchase order to a project because it was an older one.